The Tim and Tony podcast is brought to you by
Tim. Do you care about sustainability?
I do.
Do you care about comfort?
I very much do.
Do you care about style?
A little bit.
Do you care about just looking good?
I really do. I really do care about all those things. I didn't mean to put sustainability. It feels like I put sustainability a little lower on that list than I should have. But I care about
like
those things deeply.
And in fact, sustainability is actually one of the best parts about what I'm about to talk about. Allbirds, they make incredible shoes. They make incredible clothing. They make incredible socks. Tell us about it, Tim.
Welcome to the program, Allbirds. We're happy to have you on board.
Absolutely.
These are, no exaggeration, the most comfortable fucking shoes I've ever worn in my entire life.
And you don't have to just wear them when you're having sex.
That's right. That's right. I can't believe we just put that in an ad. They look great. They feel better, and they're good for the planet. This is a little bit different than we've done in the other ones. We're going to attach the link to go to Allbirds, where you can pick up not only a pair of shoes, a shirt. They're making joggers. They've got shorts, whatever you want. You buy anything on the store, you get a free pair of socks with it on us. If you do go to the store and buy some Allbirds, please use the link that's in the description of this podcast.
Yes, and they don't do deals like this. This is like the only one out there. Like, this is the one deal. So that's what we're bringing to you guys. You should do it. Get the stuff because it's a great company and they make great stuff.
So let's talk about Tidal, Tim. Why do we love Tidal so much?
I've got a Tidal sweatshirt on right now, and it is by far the most comfortable thing that I own in my entire closet. I absolutely love this hoodie that I have on, and they make the most comfortable gym attire that I've ever worn, frankly. Tried out a lot of brands. We're not going to name them on here, but you know who they are.
Absolutely.
And these guys make by far not only the most comfortable feeling clothing, they make the best looking clothing. They make you feel like a fucking badass in these things because they're perfectly tapered to make you feel very confident.
And I mean, if we can feel like badasses, that's pretty impressive. So y'all need to buy the stuff. I've got a hoodie. I've got a sleeveless hoodie that is just as douchey as it sounds, but fuck, is it comfortable? Their shirts are, like Tim said, perfectly tapered. The shorts are incredible. So, you got to buy the stuff. And here's the thing, though, Tim. Why don't you tell them about that promo code?
Okay, so on Tidal.com, that is spelled TYDAL.com. Use the promo code TAND15. That is TAND15 for 15% off your next order.
Off the whole store. Like, you can get all their stuff. You can literally buy the entire stock of their website, and you can get 15% off of all of that. And I suggest you do that because every single item that you buy there is going to be incredible. So Bucked Up. Tell the good people about them, Tim.
Okay, so here's the deal. A lot of my friends who have been asking me about Bucked Up since we got the sponsorship told me, Tim, when I get a pre-workout, it feels like I'm a meth head on Mountain Dew. And I will assert, as I've tried many other brands, that is the case generally. Not the case with Bucked Up.
No.
And particularly not the case with this little product that I just started using. It's called Heat Hardcore. I started using it because I started a cut yesterday.
Oh,
trying to get in shape for going to Mexico in August. So we're very excited.
Oh, okay.
So for all of you who are looking to get into your Mexico body shape, Heat is a good pre-workout substitute. It's only got like 150 milligrams of caffeine. It helps you burn off fat really nice. Or just going for the traditional pre-workout where they have a bunch of delicious flavors. I have a huge ass stack next to me.
The chai spice is incredible.
Yep. Oh, and there's another product of theirs that I didn't try until I was sent it. Is those racked BCAs are,
oh my God,
life-changing. Those are awesome.
So the rack BCAs are fantastic. I've taken some other BCAs and like I know I took them, but I didn't feel them. This one, I feel like I could cure cancer. Disclaimer, you can't, but you feel like you could. The Pumpocalypse, oh boy. And if you use that in conjunction with the pre, you're going to have a fun workout. So that's to say, there are plenty of options at Bucked Up Fruities, and we're not even talking yet about the protein and the meal replacement protein. Both of those are very, very delicious and lean. So, Tim, why don't you tell us about that promo code?
Promo code. Again, go to buckedup.com. You can only use this online. You cannot use this at any in-store location. Go online to buckedup.com. The promo code is TNT20. That's spelled TANDT20 for 20% off your entire order. You can order one product. You can order 50 products. It's 20% off the whole damn thing. So go to buckedup.com today and let's start working towards those Mexico bodies.
Yeah. Use those supplements. It'll change your workout, change your life like it did us.
So Tim.
Yeah.
2016 politically was, some would say, good for Republicans, correct?
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was like, why are you taking me back to this point? Okay. Yes, I would agree.
2018, who was it good for?
That one would have been good for Democrats. Not as good as we hoped, but good.
Okay. 2020.
Good for Democrats also with some warning signs.
Speaking of warning signs, what about 2021?
Let's see. Well, we almost lost New Jersey. State we won by a lot. Virginia, we did lose, won that one by 10 points. But you wouldn't know this is an emergency because the prevailing wisdom
is hold on. Because first I'm hearing something. Oh, yes, that's Elvis Monroe. Please play us in.
In a crowded room, somewhere in town.
Okay, real quick. Oh, you didn't lose your thought, right?
No, I absolutely didn't.
Go ahead.
What I wanted to say is, and I can't stress this enough, I do listen to and enjoy many of the people who are making this claim.
Yes.
On television, podcast, and other places.
Yes.
That we were always going to lose the race in Virginia.
Whoa,
because first term presidents always lose it. So therefore, nobody should be alarmed. Everything's fine. We're just going to start losing now because it's our time to lose.
Oh,
here's how I look at it.
Wow.
I don't know if it's because my first love is sports or because I have an ounce of common sense in my fucking brain. Losing is not like just something that happens to you and you're like, oh, well, fuck. Guess we lost that one.
Right.
There's always a reason for it. And instead of finding the reason for it, we seem content to do one of three things. Blame progressives, blame moderates, or just chalk it up to shit happens.
Wow.
All three suck, in my opinion.
Yeah, those
every
are
single
reasons.
One of them.
Those are
every single one of them sucks.
Those are like banners. Progressives suck.
Because instead of taking it like a fraction of ownership,
right?
It's just a little bit of ownership for what's happened here,
and for why dash, just like a little sprinkling,
and to acknowledge why people are pissed off. I'm not saying it's right, but it's how we got the last guy.
Yeah,
everything's fine. Everything's fine, Tony. Didn't you know that? Don't you feel fine? Don't you feel fine today?
No. In fact,
I don't feel fine.
No, I don't feel fine because when in a year, one singular year, in a state that we just won by over 10%, meaning we killed that shit.
Wasn't
Meaning
close.
At no point did even Newsmax project that Virginia was going red. At no point.
It was deep blue.
Deep. 1 year later, we decide to trot out, and this is the popular thing to say now that we know that he lost. But this is what I was saying.
You were saying it before, though.
This is what I've been saying. We brought out Hillary Clinton's campaign chair, whose main. No, you're not the one that needs to be sorry. We need the folks of Virginia. Whoever allowed this to happen, we need them to say sorry. We need them to call Stacey. We need to call Stacey down in Georgia and figure out what the hell they did wrong so she can tell them, because she knows what she's doing and they apparently don't. Because we trotted out a guy that brings more apathy than freaking Joe Biden does. On a very popular podcast, he came on. You want to know what his number one most important thing that he focused on during said interview was? That they spent about 8 minutes talking about.
Was that the Washington football team thing?
The Washington football team winning a ring is what they talked about. And that was what he said was his campaign promise. He mentioned, all the things that he had done previously. He hit on it, but they lingered on the fact that, and of course he didn't say anything bad about Dan Snyder, which they lobbed it up to him. They lobbed it up to him, and he just took the pitch. He took the pitch. He looked at it. He said, that's not for me. What I want is a winner. It's like, okay. See, This is the problem. This is the problem with the Democratic Party. We don't call a spade a spade. We call it a playing card.
Yep.
And it just has as much value as all the other playing cards in the deck. Well, here's the thing. When you're playing blackjack, a 6 fucking sucks. I'm here to tell you, Tim, a 6 is shit. A king? That's great. An ace? Even better. But a 6, a 5, a 4 fucking suck. And Terry McAuliffe was a 6. He was just, you hate to see it. That's what we had. We had someone from the old, we basically had Virginia's version of Joe Biden. But here's the thing. That works in a national race barely.
When the other guy's terrible.
When the other guy has the lowest approval rating of any president.
When you could run a block of fucking wood out there and yes.
Yeah. That's our problem. It's that we don't have a direction. We don't, which is why I think the whole Andrew Yang's decision to name his party the Forward Party, I think is actually quite cute and actually quite effective. We're going to do a podcast on that whole thing at some other point, but we haven't decided what we are. And we're seeing that not only in Virginia, but something that we're going to talk about in a little bit. And that's the two bills, Biden's agenda, the president of the United States agenda. We don't have a direction. We don't have a sail. We don't have an anchor. We just have water coming onto the fucking ship and no plan to do anything about it. And, I'm sorry if I'm being alarmist. I'm sorry if I'm getting if I'm getting too worked up about this. We won Virginia by 10 points. And Virginia, and the point's been made before, normally, especially in Northern Virginia, they are all national news people. And the reason why we lost this is because COVID is still a problem. We lost this because the economy, for some people, is doing great, but for a lot of people, it's not doing well because we're not willing to pay our workers, because we're not going to raise the minimum wage. God knows we're not going to do that. So the national conversation is dog shit. It's terrible because what is it? Democrats are fighting. Democrats have control, but Democrats can't get anything done. Now, would I sit here and tell you that we're doing or we're trying to do more than the other party did while they were in power? Absolutely. But the fact of the matter is that we haven't done anything. Now, I mean, okay, to be fair, the House did just pass the bipartisan infrastructure bill, but it still isn't even law yet. And we've already had 2021's elections. So we're fucked. We're fucked this year, which is great. Which, you always want to lose a year. So that's fantastic. Sorry, things. I just went on a first take rant. Go ahead.
No, it's good. I felt like I was on Undisputed. God. Here's the thing.
All right, here's Kevin Hart now.
I think we do. I think we do have an anchor, and I think it's really weak. I think we have one thing that unifies everybody, and that's this Trump thing. And first of all, but I'm saying that's all we got because you saw him use it. You saw McAuliffe use that towards the end. He's Trump. He's like him. Trump endorsed him. Trump's coming back. Here's the thing. That works really well when you're not the ones fucking things up.
Yeah.
When you're not the ones cutting provisions with 80% approval rating, like lowering prescription drug prices. Okay. Like raising taxes on rich people, 80% approval. When you're
those were the first things cut. Those in the VA.
Modernizing the VA. It's like
the first things that get cut. We're just like, no, we don't need it.
When you're cutting very popular stuff, even your most ardent supporters who are going to show up and vote because we know it's important are doing it with just a frown on our face. Like, fuck, I guess I have to. Because again, the alternative's so terrible. But in reality, the majority of this country, it's well documented, are swing voters. Like, I know that sounds weird because the narrative is that we're so polarized, when in reality, there's tens of millions of people that will switch their vote every presidential election cycle. And those people are looking at what's going on. And I'll be honest, generally speaking, swing voters aren't the biggest. Climate doesn't move them as much as it does Democrat. It's just a fact. Okay. I'm not so they care about the economy.
Yep.
Solely. That's the one thing that they care about. And again, when they see these unbelievably popular provisions being taken out, they're going to go to the other side. I'm not saying it's right. Okay. I'm not saying it makes sense, but I'm telling you, we know that.
And that's not the point. Whether it's right or wrong, here's the thing. And you and I learned this in law school during mock trial. Whether you're right or wrong is about as unimportant as could be. Because if the people that are scoring your round, if the people that are voting aren't liking what you're saying, that means inherently that you're not doing a good enough job. So you know what? You and I can sit here and, the Terry McAuliffes, the Hillary Clintons of the world can sit there and say, what I said was correct. I ran a better campaign. I did X, Y, and Z better. I did this. You lost. And so your options are to write it off, which is what most people are doing, or to examine yourself and figure out why you lost.
That's what I want to ask you.
And we lost because of a couple things. Because of that anchor that you were just talking about, that we're still focusing on the last guy. Once we're pretty damn sure that he's going to run again.
Yes. By the way, yes, I 100% believe that. Yes.
Right now, though,
he's not running in Virginia.
He's not running in Virginia. He's not running right now. He wasn't on the ballot in 2021. And for all the cute people that are saying, yes, he was. He was just in the form of Glenn Youngkin.
That's not how people
Here's the problem. People see Glenn Youngkin not as Donald Trump, because you know what he hasn't done? Anything that Trump's done in the last 6, 7, 8 years since he came on to the scene. Now, is Youngkin still doing the whole critical race theories being taught in kindergarten? Yes, he is. Which, by the way, for the listeners, it's not. Critical race theory is school. Critical race theory is something that is very, very complex, very nuanced, that even though Tim and I are both graduates of law school, don't fully understand. It's like, I'm not sitting here being a gatekeeper of the knowledge, because I myself, even though I paid way too much money to go to law school, I still don't quite understand it. It's difficult. It's nuanced.
Not being taught to your first grader.
Not being taught to your first grader. It's just not. It's that there would be no reason to. And to mistake that for teaching about our American history, including the bad shit, to mistake those things, to conflate those two things, is the problem. And because we didn't attack it as such, that's our problem. We allowed Glenn Youngkin to say that we are teaching our kids critical race theory when we are not. But when the audience, or anything close, but when your audience is more persuaded by the other guy, it's even worse if you believe what you said is better, because then not only did you have a head start on that, but it's just easier to say shit that makes sense in your view. So then you really fucked it up.
Plus, I mean, is this fair? I think there's a certain amount of bullshit that people are that is built in with voting for a Republican candidate right now. Like, oh, he did the Pledge of Allegiance to the fucking flag that was at the insurrection. He did the critical race stuff. That's part of it. Like, and again, not right. But only
people that are very online see that.
But it's graded on a curve. And so when he's like, look, X, Y, and Z is wrong, and everybody can look outside their window and realize X, Y, and Z is wrong, there's people who are persuaded. By the way, we know this from science. Negativity is more powerful than positivity. So if you're going to run positive, which is what you have to do when you're in charge, and by the way, it's something that nobody's really figured out in 30 years, going back to the 80s.
No.
So for the last 30 years, we've switched back and forth on a routine cycle, as people have so astutely pointed out over the last week. But the reason that we haven't done is no one's been able to channel positivity. And what they don't realize about it, in my opinion, is that if you're going to win doing that, you've got to like overwhelm people with positivity. It can't be, you can win a campaign with someone like Biden when negativity is the driving force to kick the other guy out. I don't think you can do it once you're in power. I think you need people just crazy excited to get out there and vote for you for one reason or the other. And I don't frankly, people are talking about whether Virginia would have been different after the infrastructure bill passed. I don't think so.
No,
I really don't.
No,
because I think it was built in that, I mean, anybody who was following politics at all knew the infrastructure bill was going to pass. It's this other one that we're worried about.
That was the point that I was going to make. It's that this infrastructure bill, none of this is sexy. Like,
it's not. It's smart, but
it's good policy, and let's get through it. So, okay. 110 billion for roads and bridges. That's dope. Needs to happen. Not sexy. It's not going to get anybody to the polls. 39 billion for modernized public transit. Again, needs to happen. Not sexy. 65 billion for broadband upgrades. Great. Not sexy. 17 billion airports, ports, and waterways. What's a waterway, low. Tim? What's a waterway? Does any normal human being know what a waterway is? I can guess.
I thought this part was a little low. Just saying our airports are in really shitty repair.
Yeah.
Would have liked to see a little more here.
As I can currently attest to, most of the airports are terrible. Salt Lake, though, sneaky, great airport town. 7.5 billion for electric cars. Again, seems low. 65 billion for power and water systems, and 21 billion for environmental cleanup.
Which, by the way, this has been kind of lost. Superfund and brownfield sites are literally like companies dumped uranium into a field, and it needs to be cleaned up, and we've just left it there.
Yeah.
That's what they're talking about. There's a lot of like negligent pollution that has been done by giant chemical companies that needs to be cleaned up. It's one of the least talked about parts of climate activism, but it actually is important.
Yeah, that's none of that 21 billion is going to prevent it. It's just we're basically wiping our ass with that 21 billion.
It needed to be done by somebody.
So
like it's par for the course. Like, am I impressed by it? No, but like, I think people are underestimating how big of an issue it actually is.
Now, when you and I off air have conversations about this, all that stuff excites us because we're those freaking people. But the problem is, you and I are already voting their direction. Guys, Democratic Party, if you're listening, you don't have to win us over. Generally speaking,
me emails.
Yeah. No. I don't need that.
Trump gave a speech today. It's like, yeah, okay, he's not president.
Don't care. I am a partisan.
Thanks to people you turned off, by the way, in Virginia, but separate issue.
Yeah, but no, I'm a partisan. Tim, I think I can speak for you. You are a partisan.
Yeah,
we're not
100%.
We are not the ones that you need to win the vote for. It's the shit that's in this next bill that is the important stuff that people care about. Paid family leave, childcare, community college, that kind of stuff. God forbid. I mean, let's turn the clock back a year or 2 years ago now, it feels like. Student loan debt, stuff that people care about will then be like, oh, this party helped me. Great. This party capped how much childcare is going to cost. This party, got my kid free preschool. This party got me or my kid free community college, stuff like that. Issues that are very popular. This party made it so that I don't have to get a second job to pay for my mom's insulin. That's
another part.
It's shit like that.
Insulin caps. Yep.
I just don't understand why we are allowing ourselves to be held back by these two senators. We're holding back the entire country for the likes of Mr. Houseboat and Miss and Miss Marathon.
So
we're kowtowing to these two people that we know why they're doing this.
Yeah, I had a thought when I saw the infrastructure bill pass, because again, it's common sense personified. But I was like,
roads.
Wow,
we want better roads, guys. I didn't know it was going to be that fucking hard.
There hasn't been a national investment in it in a long time, but it's common sense. But what I was thinking was, at least people, when they're driving to work right after they've had a kid, will have really nice roads to drive on. That's the really solid part of this bill.
Maybe they'll get there faster.
Maybe. But other than that,
or maybe they can ride one of the waterways there.
What you're talking about with it's being called a million different things. I'm going to call it the economic bill is what I'm going to refer to it as, because I don't agree with the social safety net label on it. Because
call it whatever you want, as long as you don't say the fucking price tag. Because that's not real. It's just not.
or the social spending. Are you telling me that only people on welfare have to buy prescription drugs? Like, are you telling me that only people on welfare need time off when they have a kid?
And by the way, if the person's on welfare, what do you care if they're getting cheaper insulin?
Oh, well, that's not to say anything of that. Yeah, it's
we're making 1%ers pay for people's healthcare.
Or preschool.
What's your problem? Why is this a bad idea?
Why do you care?
I get I fully understand. I disagree with it, but I fully understand the people that don't like deficit spending. I get it. We can have we can have a conversation about that, and that's actually like a conversation on policy. I would love to do it, but that's not what we're doing today. When the way that you're going to pay for stuff that has 70, 60, 80, 90% approval ratings is,
and you can't get it done.
But when you can't get it done, and the way that you're going to pay for it is also a 70, 80, 90% approval rating issue, you are failing the country. And then I honestly don't really blame the people that aren't going to vote Democrat, because look, we gave you guys the Senate, we gave you guys the House, we gave you guys the presidency, and you did nothing.
Frankly, you basically pissed on us.
Yeah.
Like basically.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Again, this infrastructure bill, it's big. It
Yes.
needed to happen. Like,
Yeah, I agree.
I
agree.
My brain, it sounds like I'm downplaying it. I'm not trying to, but like none of this stuff is polarizing. None of it. All of this is moderate. All of this is centrist. Whatever label you want to put on it, none of this stuff is partisan.
No, none of it. And
except for maybe the electric cars thing. Go ahead.
Well, and that's electric buses mostly, I think, that they're talking about there.
It's
like public transport. But so here's the thing. I thought a lot about this, about the about the differences in the two bills and who's supporting one over the other.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. You can't pretend to be the holier than thou party and say they're the ones controlled by corporate interest. They're the ones that are owned by big spending, by pharma, etc., and then cut out prescription drug price limit. Like you can't do it.
And then those very issues that you're so proud of yourself for being on this side of it, you're letting those very issues keep you from doing what the president, meaning the leader of your party, says is your main platform, the main issues that you want to attack with legislation, because you have all of Congress and you have the executive to rubber stamp basically anything you want through.
Yep.
Because you're not able to get any of that shit done. You gotta stop. And by the way, for messaging purposes, please stop doing the holier than thou shit, because it's terrible. But now you don't even have a license to do it, or you don't even have a reason to do it because you're right. Because now you're wrong. Now you're allowing special interests to stop you from doing the very things that the leader of your party says is his entire platform.
Right. And, it's an important thing that you said about nothing in this is controversial. There are controversial elements that I think Democrats want, that whether or not we want to admit it are partisan issues. None of those are in this social spending bill, in this economic package, in my opinion. Everything that's in it is very, very base level, common sense shit. Like there's no student debt relief. That's like a 50-50 issue. Okay. I don't agree with that, but it is. There's no.
I would say the community college one is partisan in a way, because a lot of conservatives want it to get cut down to just STEM majors or STEM, education.
There's no health insurance coverage expansion. No. I mean, there's a lot of climate spending, which we like.
God forbid we add dental and hearing to Medicaid.
Oh, yeah, no, that's
God forbid.
That was one of the first things that was done.
Because who's on Medicaid? Old people. You know what old people can't do really well? Hell, I can't do it really well. I can't see or hear very well.
Yeah. So here's the thing that I wanted to ask you though, and this is the part that I think may be surprising to people when they hear my take on it. Yeah. The six Democrats in the House who voted against the infrastructure bill. Here's the thing. I hear you. I understand how fucking frustrated you are. Yeah. That you're in it every day, and I'm not. I get to come and go and read news articles, get pissed and leave. You're in it every day.
Yep.
Dealing with people saying we can't pay for paid family leave, but we can pay hundreds of billions of dollars to these banks and other corporations that were failing in the middle of the pandemic, and we can just hand them fucking money to then come back later and cancel hundreds of flights on us.
Yep.
Because they don't fucking pay their. Okay.
Yeah.
We can do that, but we can't do prescription drugs. We can't do preschool. We can't do I get it. I hear you. But the way that it's going to be portrayed, right or wrong, is that now you're standing in the way of progress. And it only gives these idiots further credence that it's progressives that are actually holding everything up.
Yep.
Because, and I want to stress, to be honest, I don't know what I would do in your shoes. I would probably try to use my leverage as much as I could to get the things that I cared about passed. And I think that's what you were trying to do. But once it became apparent that it was going to pass, and it was apparent long before the vote.
Yep.
I think once you start standing in the way of that, I think you allow a narrative to creep in that is not positive for people who care about the shit that we care about, because I care about almost all the same shit that they do. And I'm pissed every bit as much as they are that it's seemingly like only the things we really care about that are getting taken out. I'm with you.
Yeah.
But we've got to be progressive and not regressive. This is common sense legislation. I know you agree with it.
Yep.
Yes, there's a chance that they bite the bullet and they don't get the second bill passed. But you know what? They weren't going to get it done anyways then.
Yep.
You get something, you get something over nothing.
You have to be able to read the room. And, you know, if something's going to pass without your vote, then what are
making the wrong statement?
Then what are we talking about here? Because now there's even more in an outward sense, there's now even more of a fracture in the party.
Yeah.
Because, you know, if those 6 had voted for it, but not, you know, not with a smile, it's still on record that every single Democrat in the House, which, by the way, the House, there's a shit ton of people. So if you can have an entire party voting in favor of something, that's in and of itself impressive. But it's, you know, that they are not the problem.
No, and I don't want to pretend that they are.
I know.
Yeah,
but
I just want to emphasize they're not the problem.
They are not the problem. They are actually genuinely trying to figure out how to get everything done instead of just a couple things done, and I applaud them for that. For the record, the problem is that when we're this slow to act,
it hurts us.
It not only does it hurt us, but it hurts us especially since all of these races are so fucking close. Like, you can look at the presidential map and say, oh, Biden won by X amount of electoral votes. He won because I've been swearing a lot in this podcast. I'm going to try and tone it down.
Yeah, that's fair.
We have a very, very odd, and in my view, a very incorrect way of electing the president of the United States.
Yeah.
Our electoral college system is inefficient at best. The way that you can look at the electoral college vote, and then when you actually look at the actual votes in those states, Biden won, well, I'm going to be the first to say, about what, 30,000 votes, 40,000 votes, which was about
the difference,
which was about the same difference as it was in 2016. What that means is that when you drag your feet on this kind of stuff, that's more than enough to impact 50,000 votes. That's more than enough to impact little pockets of different swing states. It just is. And so when you're not going all, you know, full court press, all, you know, all speed ahead, or whatever the hell that saying is, when you're not doing that, you're doing yourself and you're doing your party and the people that support you, you're doing them a disservice, because it's just going to snowball into further apathy, and either whether it be less people voting or just people not knowing who to vote for. And you know, and not saying that as like they're stupid, meaning they're undecided. They just don't know who to vote for because neither party has really done anything for them. That's where we're at.
We talked about this. I went back and listened to the podcast that we did after Biden was elected, and the thing that we talked about was move fast and fucking move.
This is the time,
and I'm standing by that. I think that if we would have gotten this done in summer, we actually might have had a chance in Virginia, because we could have pointed to something. Now, if we got it done a couple days before, I don't think it really would have mattered.
If we could have, okay, since we didn't get into this, this is important. Glenn Youngkin got 50.6% of the vote. He had 1,662,965 votes. Terry McAuliffe got 1,597,000 900,520 votes, 48.7%. This was a 2% difference, a roughly 2% difference.
Yep.
That can be swung, especially when it's what, 900,000 votes, roughly.
And you never know how many people stayed home.
Or no, sorry, 100,000. Sorry, my math is terrible. About 100,000 votes, roughly. A little less. Like that. We're talking about one state, and we're talking about one state that is plugged into national news specifically more than most other states. This was lost because we were bitching and fighting amongst each other
over stupid stuff, not on stuff that matters.
Over stupid stuff, over stuff that could have been passed easily.
Common sense. We're not fighting over what should the amount be that we forgive of student loans. That's not what we're fighting about. We're fighting over common sense shit. And that's when people get angry.
Yeah.
And justifiably, because okay, most people have a job that they go to.
Most people don't have the time, energy, patience, and want to follow this stuff as much as we do. For the record, Princess Blanding, 23,063 votes with 0.7% of the vote. For the record.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I know that it's different, but they view it as, if I was going to work and we needed to do one goddamn thing for 9 months and we couldn't do it, what the fuck? And I know it's not that simple. It's not even close to that simple. But the majority of people look at it that way. And I don't blame them.
And they're not wrong for doing that. They're not wrong for doing it.
To do one goddamn thing. And when you don't do it even moderately well, they start asking questions.
Yeah.
Okay. And you can say till you're blue in the face, not a single Republican is going to vote for this bill.
Yeah.
They do not care because the narrative is you can't get it done.
Yeah.
I know they don't want to get it done, but you can't. And you told me you would.
Yeah. So we've been negative. Positive. We passed the infrastructure bill. We did.
Yeah.
We passed it. It's big. It's huge. It's gonna be great. You'll notice, that was the brief moment of positivity. Folks, you'll notice that we have not mentioned yet how this bill is going to be paid for. Which we're honestly still waiting for that answer. The CBO, which I forget,
cut the corporate tax hike.
They cut all the common sense ways to pay for this bill. Why? You're going to need to call our intrepid senators from West Virginia and Arizona. But I forget what the CBO stands for, but basically they're the ones that calculate how much bills are going to cost.
Congressional Budget Office.
Thank you. They say that the bill is going to add to the deficit. Democrats say it won't. I'm much more willing to listen to the people that are supposed to be nonpartisan. So it looked like you had something to say.
Yeah, I want to stress that I think the narrative around corporate taxation has become a little simplified because it's so simple in our tax code. And the reason that it's so simple in our tax code is poor people have bad lobbyists and corporations have very good ones.
You're saying we're not very good?
I'm just saying, the corporations can afford to have this very, very simple tax code that they can cheat.
Yep.
What should exist is that we should create ways to tax the people like Apple, Amazon, and Google, and Netflix, and all these fuckers who write off tons of debt that they spend to make more money so they show no revenue.
Tesla.
Yes. Okay, all these loopholes and avenues that these huge ass companies, I'm not saying your fucking mom and pop shop down the road that's a fucking S corp.
Nobody
got 6 fucking people working at it. I'm saying Netflix should pay more than $0 in taxes. And you should figure out how to make that happen.
However, tax experts get together, figure it out, because it needs to happen. We cannot continue as a country in the way that we have, or I mean, hell, in the way that we used to. We haven't nearly been the most prosperous country in the world in a long time, but we can't even think of ourselves as one of the world's powers if we can't have the very businesses that benefit from being in this country, if we don't have them paying into the system. Trickle down is a lie. It always has been. It always will be. We need to force the companies that
I'm still waiting for it to trickle down.
I'm still
sorry.
I'm waiting there with my raincoat, waiting for something to trickle down, and it's dry as hell down here. So it doesn't work. It's a lie.
It's a lie that Democrats buy into, though, whether they know it or not.
Yeah. So there's one way to make sure that that businesses give us money. There's one way to make sure that businesses actually pay back into the system that they benefit from, and that's by taxing them. And that's by making it so the tax code forces them to pay taxes. Trust me, they're not going to move their shit overseas. I promise you.
And
if we make it so that they can't.
If you make it so they can't, like, you've got to have enforcement mechanisms that prevent them from doing so. And
say maybe money. Funding the IRS
by taxing them. Like, okay, like it's simple and it's not. I've heard a lot of Democrats saying, well, when you raise corporate taxes, everybody thinks of large corporations. They don't think of the middle class corporations or the small corporations. And I'm like, no, actually we do. You're the policymakers. You don't think of
because
the differences. I know there's a difference. I know there's a difference.
Yeah.
Okay. I've worked in small corporations with 2 people working at them. I get it. I get that there's a difference between that and Amazon.
Huge difference.
But the tax code doesn't reflect it, and that's your fucking fault. So when you act like, well, we can't raise corporate taxes, what about the fucking mom? Shut up.
Yeah.
Like, your job is to figure it out.
Yeah.
Okay. Amazon doesn't pay taxes right now. You're saying that we can't tax them because you're afraid that you're not smart enough to create a bill that doesn't have residual effects on smaller businesses.
Basically, we're pissed off that we can't pay for anything, but we're not willing to do the one thing that will make us able to pay for stuff. And then we're saying that, we do. And then we're saying that we don't have the money to enforce the stuff because we're not willing to do the stuff that's going to enable us to fund it. Like it's, chicken, egg, chicken, all that good stuff.
We've always got money for failing large corporations, not small ones.
Always.
Not small ones, but there's always plenty of money.
That nobody
when they go belly up.
Nobody batted an eye when we started cutting PPP checks. Nobody. Now, should they have? Probably not. But nobody did. It's because when the money goes to businesses, business owners, people that made it, people that are successful, we're going to help them out, like to make sure that our country stays on track. Sure, here's the thing: Amazon is not the United States. Apple is not the United States. Tesla's not the United States. These little mom and pop shops, that's the United States. Middle class, whether you think it exists or not, that's it. That's the United States. The United States is made up of individual human beings, much to the chagrin of Citizens United. Corporations are not physically people, so we are made up of humans. And if we can make sure that there's a way to benefit more people by taxing corporations that don't exist, they exist on paper. If we can tax them, and we can tax the 1% that don't need all that money, that we're now just sending dicks up into space. That's what we're doing now. That was the most clear and obvious way to show they have too much money. Yeah. Jeff Bezos has too much money. Elon Musk has too much money. They don't know what to spend. Elon Musk is now having Twitter polls as to whether or not he should sell stock because he doesn't care. It could go well or bad. His life is unimpacted. It is not impacted.
And Elon Musk has a huge tax bill coming that he's going to have to maneuver some money around for, which could involve selling stock. And I'm not going to bore everybody with the details,
which means
but
we have a time period that we need to fix shit. But anyways, Tim, I think we've jumped into politics enough for today. So on that note, and by the way, guys, we're going to be doing, like we said in the last episode, we're going to be doing politics one episode. We're going to be doing movies one episode. We're going to be mixing it up because that's what that's what we want to do. And we've been getting some positive feedback from it. So thank you guys so much for listening. Tim, where can they find you?
Instagram, Twitter, other sites, OnlyFans, maybe at LeDuc 32. Tony.
Absolutely. T Felix 3412. Check it out. And then check out the YouTube page. If you're a viewer, welcome. You're already here. Thank you so much. Hit like, comment, let us know what we're doing great, what you hate from us. Because like we said, the audience is the true arbiter and the true decision maker for what's good and bad. Because we're making it for you, we're not making it for us. So thank you guys so much for listening. Ted Cruz, Joe Manchin, Kirsten Sinema, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk.
Jump in, it's a party.
Please, all at once, all in unison. Say it with me, Tim. Please go fuck yourself. Elvis Monroe, please play us out.
One day, someday, fiction girl. She's my one day, someday. She's my one day, someday. Gotta have her, gonna call her baby. One day, someday. She's gonna call me baby, gonna have a family. I can see it in her eyes. Our future's so bright. Gonna wake up by his side. One day, someday. She's my one day, someday. Fiction girl. She's my one day, someday.